let's introduce our featured artist of the night, Mr. Michael Caffery. So, Michael, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna screen share your Instagram, right? And feel free to tell me to move however I need to move.
Pull whatever one's up that catch your eye or something. I'll talk about it, I guess. Whatever you want to do. Doesn't matter. I wish I could do it myself. I apologize.
It's all good, man.
My internet's still out, by the way.
All right, let me get it up.
I'm staring at my YouTube.
Okay,
I'm impressed that you're here at all, to be honest. If you're
okay, so so this is Michael's Instagram. Let me just move this to the side so I can navigate. I'm just gonna go through. Michael, you stop me when you want to speak about a particular piece. And the reason why we're doing this, just to let you know, Michael's internet went down tonight in the storm, so I'm just supporting him to make his work come to life for us here tonight.
You can go down to like the finished pieces, like the top like 16 or so, or works in progress.
Okay, you tell me when to stop.
Mm-hmm.
But did you say these are all in the same medium? These are oil?
Yeah, those, it's all oil. Yeah, that's like it's just the underpainting.
When you say underpainting, Michael, what does that mean?
Well, I guess it's not really an underpainting. It's more of like I just use burnt umber to do like the, it kind of like guys, you guys are killing me. Please knock it off. It kind of pulls all the colors together. Just go down a little bit more. I'll try to explain it.
This one.
Oh, you can start right. You stop right there.
Yeah, this is one of my.
That's just a friend of mine.
Well, that's not an understatement.
No, that one's finished. He's an artist in the city, so I decided to paint his portrait. He's a cool guy. But that underpainting is beneath that. It's under all my work. You can like if you look at the stuff that is in progress, it all has that. And basically, it's hard to tell from these photos. When you look at it in real life, it pulls all the color together. Yeah, I mean that's oil. These photos are awful. Like the flesh tones behind the eyes are different than the rest of the face. And that was really tricky to pull off. I had a hard time with that. You know, because the glasses kind of distorts the color like just a little bit. So mixing those colors was the nightmare. The shirt I left kind of like open and loose. Again, it's hard to tell from that photo. But yeah, I mean it's just a basic portrait. You know? All this stuff right now is actually I'm working up towards my real work. These are all basic studies. You know, I want my work to tell stories and to have an emotional impact and things like that. So a lot of this is just me. Like you can tell each one is a little bit different. Like I'm working on certain textures or color theory, you know, things like that. You can move on if you want to.
Red background with the green eyes there.
Dude, this piece just drew me in when I saw it on your gram. Just the realism, the texture, just every like skin, like you know, like every portion of this person's face, the skin, like is doing something. And it's
he's got an interesting face, and then the lighting itself, it's like the light was so scattered over his face. You know, like the forehead has a different tone to it, the eyes have a different tone, you know, the cheek has a different tone, and that wasn't really a mistake on my part. I didn't really deviate too much from the photo. I just like the juxtaposition of all those different shades and tones, and there's a lot of grays in there. The photo just doesn't do any justice. It really doesn't. You gotta see in real life.
I can't wait to.
Is that
It
reflection the
loses
heart of
some
the
of its
piece,
soul.
or is it?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
what
actually
I
like the
thought.
easiest. That's what a lot of people point out, but I mean, the trick with that
White.
too is you don't want to go stark white. I know it looks white on there, but I mean, we're talking like, oh man, a minuscule amount of yellow and blue sometimes, depending
Yeah.
on the reflection. But it's easy. It's easy. It's easy. It really is. The glasses were a nightmare. The frames, getting it as smooth and steady as that. Oh, good lord.
Yeah,
I had a few
bet.
fits. I ain't gonna lie.
It's like black is never black
But
and white is never
yeah.
white. And when it comes to paintings, people, that's the big secret.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
most
And that's what
non-patriots don't recognize.
pulls it out. But it's pain in the butt, man. I'm starting to steer away from that actually. I'm using more, getting in more brushwork. That's actually one of my favorites. That one reminds me of my mother. I had an issue when I first started painting that light bouncing off his neck. It wasn't working, and then basically all I had to do was mute. I grayed out, guys. For God's sake, I grayed out the green in the background, and I just increased the chroma of that light, and it just exploded right out into my face. That was a huge learning experience for me. And that one's small too. That's like 6 by 6 inches. It's really small, so I couldn't get a whole lot of detail into it.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot about muting colors for that one. Like adjusting the chroma is a huge thing. Color theory is a pain in the butt.
Oh yeah.
Michael, speak
Perfect,
a little
though.
bit. Speak a little bit about chroma theory.
Let's see what we got here. Obviously, you know what chroma is, right? It's the color intensity. Basically, if you want to pull something out of the background, I mean, it changes piece to piece, of course, but just and generally speaking, if you want something to come forward, you're going to want a relatively high chroma. And if you want to push something in the background, if you want it to recede, you're going to want to reduce that chroma. Okay, so basically that's just a fancy way of like kind of graying out the color. Like, complementary colors obviously is red and green, okay? They don't really complement each other per se. That's not really what it's supposed to mean. What it means is they cancel each other out. So if you have a super, super bright red and you want a more muted, toned down red, you just add green to it and it'll kill some of the chroma. And it'll cause it to recede. But if you want something to punch you in the face, like almost like the light off of his cheek right there, that's his nose. Like there's a lot of chroma in that red on his nose, which is pulling it forward, whereas, his forehead and the other side of the cheek, I reduce the chroma on that and it'll pull it back. So then it gives it more of like a 3D effect.
Oh, wow. Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
So you added more green to his nose?
What's up? What do you?
So I said, for his nose, you added more tints of green to that? Or less?
For the background I did, you add green to it. Like you don't add green to it to make it green. You basically do it to just reduce the color intensity.
Yeah.
So if you're working with, blue and orange, obviously are complementary colors, it would be the same thing. Like if you want to do a muted sky, like almost like a gray sky, you would take a normal blue, cerulean or ultramarine, and you just tone it down with white will do it, but white will kind of milk it out. But an orange, especially like a cadmium orange, will turn it almost gray. But before you get to that gray, you're going to want to obviously keep a little bit more blue. You know what I mean? It's hard to just explain it. Like I have to show it to you in person, like how to mix colors.
I'm understanding.
But I struggled with color theory for seriously 30 years. 30 years. And then one day it just all clicked like that. So now you'll never see the world the same way again. It's absurd.
And you said you've only been painting 3 years?
Yeah, I mean, I've been drawing since I could hold a pencil. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But painting, yeah, I just picked up oil painting 3 years ago.
Okay. I'm gonna
Actually,
keep it
coming on in March. I gave myself 3 years to study, and then after that, I'm gonna move on. Not a huge fan of that one. That was like one of the first ones I did. If you can just pass that one, it'd be great.
A bit flat.
Tell us about this one. Who's this handsome dude?
Obviously in self-portrait. That one actually I was super proud about. That one worked out really well. Same thing, man. You know, you're gonna want a focal point in every painting. You know, like in this one, obviously would be the you know, the light on the cheek, is that's what kind of brings everything forward. But I mean, you can see I made a mistake. If you look not on the light side, but on the dark side, on the top of the cheek, under the eye, that red is way too intense. It's way too intense, and that messes up, you know, the three-dimensionality of it. But because it was my first portrait in oils, I just kept it just to kind of remind myself to never make that mistake twice. So yeah, but I mean, that was pretty self-explanatory. It's just me painting myself. I had a mirror next to my table. I drew it, painted it. I have a bad habit of drawing directly on canvas, but it's not really a good habit to get into.
So, Michael, tell me which one you want me to stop on.
Oh, we want to go over the line work? It doesn't matter, man. Whichever one catches. You can pick the fish. I like that. Was my favorite one of that.
Yeah, for sure. This line work there.
They have nice line quality.
Thank you so much. That's actually where I started. I grew up a little kid. I was drawing comic books, so that was kind of like my highest skill set for a long time. I don't know if you ever heard of Inktober. That's on Instagram, but that's what all these were for. And that's basically just a piranha, and I stylized it, obviously. But you know,
Nice hatch, man. Inking is one of those things. It's like just the black and white. It's something I've never really attempted. That's actually a whole new territory. You know, it's like
it's tricky. I mean,
yeah.
My phone's dying. I would say it's actually. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Plug her in. We're good. Yeah.
I love how the whites are used to really make this just pop, you know, just the little spots of white everywhere. I mean, just like I'm so curious. Like I try to use pencil on my canvas pieces, you know, because I just like the way pencil, you know, I don't know why. So I was just curious about your transition from line work like this to oil painting. Like it seems like you sacrifice the lines for the realism of the color and the tones and the three-dimensionality of the work, and that's something that really stands out in your work, right?
Yeah, I mean, three-dimensionality is always important, no matter how you slice it. The white will pull that forward only because that paper is actually like a bluish gray color. So that's why that white is so stark. And the key to that, actually something I learned tattooing, like the white is, you're talking, I mean, if you look in real life, white and black don't even exist. It's not, it's a myth. It doesn't, you'll never see that in realism, ever. You know, it's always a shade of yellow or a shade of blue or brown or black. Or not black, you know what I mean? But there's no such thing as black and white. But so if you're gonna bend reality to the point where there is white, you have to really keep it to a minimum. less than 1% of that piece should be either stark white or stark black.